Your mic's on, folks. In accordance with Section 5 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, be advised that a notice of this meeting was made on the posting of Baltimore Town Hall and the officially designated newspapers are listed in meeting dates annually, indicating that this meeting would take place at Town Hall at 7 p.m. on November 4th.
Joseph Caulfield.
Present.
Chandra Harjani.
Here.
Amy Lawrence.
Here.
Gary Rosen.
Here.
Regina Truitt.
Here.
Joanne Peng.
Again.
Jessica Glad.
Here.
Craig Clayton.
Here. Okay, first this evening we have approval of minutes of October 7th, 2024. Those minutes were circulated. Are there any corrections or changes to those? Nope. If not, all those in favor? Anyone opposed?
Actually, I need a motion.
Yeah,
What's
I'll
that?
make a motion.
Oh, yeah,
for the
sorry, make a
minutes.
motion.
I'll make a motion.
Any second?
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Next up, we have the memorializations, 3 of those. First, starting off calendar 399524, David Schefter, 52 Meadowbrook Road, Short Hills. Any corrections or changes? If not, can I have a motion?
Motion to approve memorialization for calendar number 3995-24.
Oh, we don't, say check on eligibility. Is Gary eligible?
Yes.
Okay. Who is it?
The only one not is Judge. Everyone else.
Okay. And can I have a second then?
I can second.
Joseph Caulfield.
Yes.
Chandra Harjani.
Yes.
Amy Lawrence.
Yes.
Gary Rosen.
Yes.
Regina Truitt.
Yes.
Jessica Glad.
Yes.
Craig Clayton.
Yes. Next, we have calendar 399924, James and Dina Galan at 117 Cypress Street, Melbourne. Same crew, or
Wait.
any corrections or changes?
Yes. Same.
Same crew?
Mhm.
Okay, can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve calendar 3999-24.
Thank you. Have a second?
Second.
Joseph Caulfield.
Yes.
Chandra Harjani.
Yes.
Amy Lawrence.
Yes.
Gary Rosen.
Yes.
Regina Truitt.
Yes.
Jessica Glad.
Yes.
Craig Clayton.
Yes, last year, calendar 400424, Italy, 1200 Morris Turnpike.
Same.
Same? Okay, any corrections or changes? If not, can I have a motion to approve those minutes and memorializations?
Move approval.
Second.
Joseph Caulfield.
Yes.
Chandra Harjani.
Yes.
Amy Lawrence.
Yes.
Gary Rosen.
Yes.
Regina Truitt.
Yes.
Jessica Glad.
Yes.
Craig Clayton.
Yes. Real quick, on the agenda this evening, we have one application that's going to be carried. That's calendar 399624, Stefanos Arethis at 38 Crescent Place. So if you're here on that case, it will be moved to 12/16/24 with no further notice. Any corrections or changes or differences of the plans will be loaded on the township website. Next, we're going to be juggling a couple of the cases tonight. 162 Long Hill will be heard last. And otherwise, that's going to be it. So just juggling that one case. So first up, we have a matter carried from 9/16/24, calendar 392523 Lucky Express, 11 Mount Ararat Road. Good evening, Counselor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Anthony Susillo with the law offices of Levitt and Susillo in Millburn. On behalf of the applicant, we submitted revised plans and the reduction of the variances to just the front yard setback. I've got both witnesses here. I'd like to call architect Po Wu.
Hi, good evening.
He remains on the.
Yeah, I think you were previously sworn, so you're a man of the road, so your credentials are qualified, so please continue.
Po, please explain to the board the zoning criteria of your chart.
Yeah, I will start with the rear yard unoccupied. The requirement is 1,500 square feet, and we are the current rear yard occupied area is 1,164, and we will be able to increase into 1,647. So we are conform with the requirement for rear yard occupied. And for the floor area ratio, the requirement is 2,160 square feet, and existing building is 1,707 square feet, and we'll be able to conform that with the proposed plan of 2,160 square feet. So if we conform with the floor area ratio, and for the lot coverage, the requirement is 2,700 square feet, and existing 3,091 square feet, and we are conforming that one as well. For the building coverage, the requirement is 1,380 square feet, existing building coverage up 1,017 square feet, and the proposed building is 1,223 square feet, so we are 157 square feet below the requirements. And for the front yard setback, we need a relief on the front yard setback. The requirement is 40 feet, and existing 25.35 feet, and proposed front yard setback is 20.5 feet. And the reason for that is we doing there's a front yard portico we want to propose to the building, and that's why we need to that's why the front yard setback is reduced.
Why don't you show us on your plans exactly what you're talking about, so we have a little more meat on the bone here.
Let's start with the site plan. What I'm doing is we originally for the last hearing, we proposed the the addition at the back around 300 square feet, and I reduced another 150 square feet. By doing that, I'll be able to confirm the building coverage, lot coverage, and the FAR.
Or speak to the variance rather than the conformities. Speak to
The front yard setback is right here. The existing building is there's no front portico for the existing building. That's the line of the existing building, and we are proposing this front portico, and that's around like the size of the portico is around. That's the element right here. It's around 8 feet wide by 5 feet deep, plus or minus. And I guess, like you can see, there's no existing front portico here, and we're proposing these elements here. That's a front portico, and over here on the side. And another side here.
Council, excuse me, do you have someone else to see that?
Yes, the plan.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. I was gonna go into CYC two.
Yeah, our planner is gonna testimony the
Correct.
positive and negative criteria for the proposed front portico.
Any other questions regarding the protocol?
That's the only thing not conforming.
Yeah, that's the only thing that's not conform.
So this rear yard unoccupied is off,
It's conform.
conforming now.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's conforming now.
so the front yard
You said that 8 feet by 5 feet, like roughly the 40.
Around, yeah.
40 square feet area.
something like that.
Adding that, still you're in conformity with all the.
Yeah, with the building coverage, that's only count as a building coverage we conform with that.
Just to clarify, so the existing is conforming or non-conforming?
The existing what building?
Existing front yard setback.
No, it's not conforming. It's 25.35 feet. And you require 40 feet. From here.
Hey, can you show the board where 40 feet is on your site plan? Could you draw a line through it?
40 feet is this much, almost to the midpoint of the building. The existing
Dotted
building.
line right above dwelling.
Right here. The dwelling is here, that's the dwelling, that's the building. And 40 feet line almost close the midpoint of the building.
Any other questions for the architect?
The whole rear yard patio is eliminated, the retaining walls?
Yeah, almost.
So just a question, all of these variances are no longer relevant? Just one, so our agenda is not up to date, okay.
Any other questions? Any questions from the audience? Go ahead.
Bridget Bogart?
You're previously sworn and your credentials were admitted at the last meeting, I believe.
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Last couple of meetings.
Thank you. I think my testimony is going to be short and sweet tonight.
So I like it.
All right. Obviously, you heard from our architect that there's only one variance remaining. We took your suggestions into consideration, obviously, and we really revamped the plan. The one thing that was really important to the applicant is that front portico to protect when they're bringing in groceries and anything else of that nature. So we had to keep that. And as you heard from our architect previously and also tonight, if you actually looked at the 40-foot setback line, it really goes right through our building. So we're working with an existing condition here, and we're just looking to add not only an architectural feature to the front, but also something for safety and protection from the elements for my client. All that being said, my previous testimony had suggested that because of the fact that we're working with an existing permitted building, this could be considered a C1 variance. But I also provided the proofs for C2 variance, indicating one, that there are three purposes of the municipal land use law that we further, purpose A, G, and I. Excuse me. So purpose A is to encourage municipal action to guide appropriate use and development of all lands. I believe that the proposed redevelopment of this site is a benefit for the street, for the neighborhood as a whole, because of the architectural features that are being provided. Purpose G is to provide us with appropriate locations for appropriate uses, and this is a permitted use as a single-family home. And then purpose I is to provide a desirable visual environment. As you can see, we're trying to upgrade the dwelling itself and provide the additional architectural features I've mentioned. I went through the goals of the master plan in 2018. And at that point in time, the municipality had indicated that they want to evaluate the necessity and effectiveness of certain existing land use regulations and to ensure that new residential development and additions are compatible to the surrounding area. Previously, when I testified, I had indicated that it is consistent with the surrounding area, but I don't believe, from my knowledge, that the municipality has actually gone through that evaluation and changed any of those regulations. I thought I heard something. The benefits of the proposals, we're adding greenery. The landscape plan that was submitted would still comply with what we're proposing here and be consistent with. And if we need to work with your professionals to modify that landscape plan, we will do so. And as I mentioned to you, we're only adding the covered porch, which requires the variance, and that's really for protection. That is compared to the negative criteria or any negatives of this application. And I don't believe there are any substantial detriments to the public good because it fits into the neighborhood. It provides additional landscaping and buffering from the adjacent and remaining site and the adjacent commercial properties. And there's no substantial impairment to the zone plan for the reason I noted above from the 2018 goals and objectives. So for all those reasons, I believe that we meet both the positive and negative criteria that this board has a right to grant the C2 variance that we are requesting tonight.
Thank you. Any questions from the board for Tyler? Any questions from the public? Any comments from the public? I'll close the public portion.
Thank you.
Board members, what are your thoughts?
I'll go. I appreciate all of the modifications you've made and for listening to the board and for taking our concerns into consideration. I would be in support.
I would join Regina in supporting this application. They've taken all of our comments and really worked hard to put this together.
As well, I think the request is within reason considering from the C1 perspective of the 40-foot setback, but at the same time from C2 where this would not really be detrimental to the zoning plan or master plan. So I think I would support this. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the application.
A second?
I can second.
I don't know if Chandru, did you were absent in July, and I don't know if you had this discussion with you, watched the meeting in July,
July.
the July meeting.
Let's have you abstain from this one.
Let's do that.
Uh,
Okay.
Well, can I have a second, please?
I'll second it.
Joseph Caulfield,
Yes.
Amy Lawrence,
Yes.
Gary Rosen,
Yes.
Virginia Truitt,
Yes.
Jessica Glad.
Yes.
Kate Planer.
Yes, good luck with the project.
Thank you very much.
Next up, we have calendar 400524 Oswego Lane. Come on now. Yeah, that's fine, yeah. I'll get you. Maybe Joe will. One of us will. For the record, Amy Lawrence is recusing. Sergeant Penn will take the spot from alternate and become a voting member. Is that application right here?
I'm just waiting for Tim.
Oh, for Tim? Did he go to standard? Is he gonna drink? Oh, there he is.
I got her.
Your world, we're just guests.
I got her. That's my wife.
How are you?
We're going right. I'm ready. Sorry.
All good.
Just for you. Is anyone else?
You know, anyone who's speak coming up? Get sworn in. If you don't speak.
Yes.
Just raise your- do you swear from testimony about to give in tonight's proceeding be the truth, whole truth, and but the truth?
I do.
Just state your names for the record, please.
Yana Sinyanskaya,
Just spell it.
sure, YANASINYANSKAYA.
Benjamin Rubin, RUBIN. Timothy Klesse, KLESSE.
Thank you.
Okay, I want you guys to just really, just give them a little summary, how long you've been in the house, what we want to do. Just for a minute.
We've been in the house for over 8 years. We came here to raise a family, just like a lot of people in this town. My wife works in the city. I'm a physician at Morristown Medical Center. We have 2 daughters. One of them is 9 years old and 14 years old. 14 years old goes to Milburn Middle School. Our younger daughter has a special genetic condition, so she goes to a special school in town, the Popsicle. It's essentially, very happy being in the house, and we want to continue to be in the house and stay in the house for a long time. Our younger daughter may stay with us for
Forever.
a long, long time. So she needs extra care, and we want to choose to create a condition so that can accommodate that specific purpose. By expanding the house or modifying the house, she needs a constant caretaker, so that's what we want to provide.
Okay, you guys are done.
Thanks.
Okay, I'll do it.
Yeah,
So it's 22 Oswego Lane. It's an R4 zone.
qualifications.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm a licensed architect in New York and New Jersey and been licensed for about 30 years. My license is in good standing. I've appeared in front of this board on numerous occasions and in front of other zoning boards in the area.
Thank you. Qualification accepted. Please proceed.
So it's R4 zone, which has a lot area of 20,000 square feet. This site is almost 40,000 square feet. It's an enormous lot. The building is also way pushed back off the street. We want to make these improvements. It's like a 60s infill colonial. We want to make these improvements to the house so they can stay in it. And really what we're doing is increasing the bedrooms for the two girls and also increasing the kitchen, like the sort of living area on the first floor. So I'm just going to go to my BOA drawings, which are exactly the same as your BOA drawings. On the left is the existing survey, and I think right off the survey, you can see the problem here. The problem is this big tennis court that's in the backyard, okay? And so the tennis court is there. That's our actual lot area. And our present building is kind of out to Oswego with a setback of about 70 feet from the street. On the right side is my proposed. We're adding a building in the front to come forward, and we're also adding across the back to align with the family room, which was added at some, I'm going to say about 20 years ago, it looks to me, that this family room was added, or was an enclosed porch that was later turned into a family room. We're trying to just square it up. And everything works out fine with the site in terms of zoning, except that we have a problem with front yard setback. And that's I'll go through it a little bit more with the attachment E, but the front yard setback now is a minimum and maximum, and we can't come out, or we don't want to come out far enough with our addition so that we can conform to the maximum required. In other words, the existing building is non-conforming, and our addition, if it came out further into the front yard, it would conform to the front yard setback. So it's kind of a little bit of a quirk of the ordinance. And the other thing that we're failing for is lot coverage. And we're failing for lot coverage really because of the tennis court. Okay. And if we remove the tennis court, we would easily conform to lot coverage. But as Dr. Rubin was saying when he first started talking, we really want to keep the tennis court in place, and it's really for their daughter. She just uses it as a space, as a play space, and it's a contained play space for her because it's kind of fenced, I guess. I guess they could go into it in a little better detail.
That was there when.
It was already in, yeah.
Right.
When they bought the house, it was there. But anyway, what it did is it banged up our lot coverage to about 40%. So we're asking to be allowed to really, I guess in a sense, we're asking for a variance for excessive lot coverage. Building coverage conforms. If I go to my floor plan, which I'll just do really quickly, we kind of have taken, I'm on my BOA 2 sheet, we took the existing garage and turned it into a 3-car garage, added a mudroom coming towards the street, and added in the back in order to create that larger kitchen and eating area. All the building coverage and the relationship to the patio, all that still conforms and stays. There's no variance request for any of that. On the second floor, we're adding over the garage area and adding taking out 2 bedrooms and adding 2 larger bedrooms, bathrooms, and closets for the girls. That's really what's going on. The master is staying just as it is existing, with no change. Right. All of the materials on the building, this is a brick colonial infill probably in the 60s. And all of the materials are all the same. We matched the brick, brought it all around. This building completed, would look like it was always there. I'm just going to flip real quick to the attachment E, which is on your page 10. And you can see the existing front yard setback for this building is 77 feet. The proposed is 60, but the zoning or this kind of newer calculation method that we have for front yard setback sets that the minimum setback would be 41.9 and the maximum is 48.19. And we're proposed to be at 60, so we didn't come out far enough to get to the maximum allowable
The
setback.
house is set too far back.
The house is existing too far back. And it probably is because it's a pie-shaped lot and, it kind of would make sense to take a pie-shaped lot and set the house a little further back so that, you can get more width to the building. So I think that's a deviation of 11.81 feet, which is a request really to satisfy this little part of I'm going to call it the new front yard setback criteria, but it's not. I guess it's about a year old now. And then the lot coverage is required to be at a maximum of 35%, right? That's building coverage and all other site improvements. And our proposed is 40%. That's a variance of 5.7, it's 5.7% variance. And the tennis court is already existing. I brought some photos of it as existing. It's pretty well treed in and really, it's in such a location, if you take a look at the tax map in your pamphlet on, even page 14 is pretty good to look at this. You can see that it's in the rear yards of everyone, and the tennis court really doesn't have a big impact on the neighbors. I don't think I have any neighbors here related to this. A couple of them that are very close here are houses I worked on, and I would recognize those people. But it's not that it's a heavily used tennis court, and we didn't really want to cut it down and turn it into a sports court and end up with somebody coming in with a basketball hoop and all this other stuff. So we thought it was actually a better use if we could just leave it. And with that in mind, I'd like to just present my exhibit A1. And it's a board of just to show you the tennis court in the environment and how it looks. And I took these pictures today. So if I kind of come down the driveway, you can see the driveway itself is heavily shielded on the left side. I mean, you can't see through it. And there's another house right here on the left side. I come in, if I start to look back, that buffer is still there. I get beyond it, you can start to see that the tennis court is now on my right. So if I go to my photo C, you can see that I'm standing on the back patio on Dr. Rubin's property, looking into the tennis court. You can see the conifers that they planted right around the tennis court to buffer it. I don't know how long ago they were planted. They look like about 2 years, it looks to me. They look to me like they're about 2 years old. So they'll totally fill in a couple of years. And then if I spun a little bit, this is kind of going on the right side. You can see the buffer planted there. So they've already planted to kind of mitigate the tennis court. And it's really an existing condition that we'd like to leave in place. And we can provide additional stormwater retention, right, to make up for, we have to anyway by the terms of the engineering department here, but we could actually provide another 500 cubic feet of retention to make up for additional 5% of added coverage that we're over beyond what is necessary per the town ordinance. If that makes sense to everybody. In other words, I can take this and still surcharge the aquafilter. Okay, so, and that's really my entire case. Is there any questions? Oh, no.
How does the tennis court drain currently?
It looks to me like it just drains into the site. I don't see any perimeter drains at all.
And the people that are in back of them, I guess lot 12, are they downhill?
Let me
No,
look.
they chose the lowest one.
Lot 12. Lot 12, I think, that's Westfield.
We have the lowest one.
They are,
You have the lowest point.
they are a little bit low. I don't know what that little easement is doing. Is that a drain? Is there a drain back there? You guys are this way.
Yeah, there is a drain, there is a township drain.
The town's gotta have a drain, because
There's
I'm
two
looking on,
drains, two drains in the corner, right here, and there's a drain behind
We have one drain on
We can only have, we can only have one at a time.
I'm looking on 14, my, inside the packet. You see that little easement that's coming in off of Long Hill? That easement is a drainage easement from the town. So there's a catch basin there. And then there's another basin up at the corner of the property. So there's actually a basin here and another basin up in the corner of the property up here. It's, I guess, collecting this water. But all of our water or all of our added runoff that we create from our new building area, we have to bring into the driveway. So we will handle that side of it. What I'm actually saying is we could take a little more into the dry well too, if it helped to mitigate the added lot coverage. That's what I'm. Okay. Done.
Any questions for Mr. Klesse? Any questions from the audience regarding this application? Any comments regarding this application? Then I'll close the public portion. Board members, your thoughts?
When I first saw the numbers, I was a little shocked because it's such an oversized lot. But then seeing the property and knowing that the tennis court is an existing structure that was there, I think that in and of itself is a hardship. I don't think that they're asking for too much here. I don't think that the work that they're trying to do is overbuilding at all. I could support the application.
Yeah, and for that, I don't really think that what they're doing is going to have much impact on the neighbors. So I too would be supportive of this application. Obviously, the front yard setback thing, I've said it many times, we're trying to address that, and we're going to clean up that ordinance. We're in the process now of doing it, so that probably wouldn't exist in another 6 months from now, that problem. So, and like I said, the tennis court's there, what are you going to do? It doesn't make sense to dig it out of the ground. So, I would support it.
I would say, I think there's some hardships. You've talked about the pie-shaped lot and the existing tennis court, even though it is a big property, and I think you're at some modest asks, so I would support it.
Do a motion.
Move approval?
Second?
Thank you.
Joseph Caulfield,
Yes.
Shadru Rajani,
Yes.
Gary Rosen,
Yes.
Regina Truitt,
Yes.
Zhajang Peng,
Yes.
Jessica Blatt,
Yes.
Rick Whitman.
Yes, good luck with the project.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you're right. Next up, we're on calendar 398324, 112 Canoe Brook. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, board members, Attorney Dennis Francis, 37 Liberty Street, Little Fern, New
Just
Jersey.
1 second, we just have to bring more of our members back in.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, board members, Attorney Dennis Francis, 37 Liberty Street, Little Fern, New Jersey, on behalf of the applicants. We were before you back in July 1st. We're happy to be back this evening with revised plans. Our last application, I believe, had a number of 5 variances. We were late that evening. I think we were very late at evening that night, and we really didn't go too far into the application. There were a lot of inconsistencies with the numbers, if you recall, and we had a few meetings and addressed all of those issues, and hopefully this evening, we have a much better product before you, which is consistent and thorough in its application and the application that the board so deems to be required. The property is 12 Canoe Brook Road, it's block 5102 and lot 17. It's in the R5 zone. The applicant the present use of the property is a single-family residential use. The applicant seeks to renovate that existing single-family to include a 2-story addition with construction to 2 front yard garages as per the plans proposed. This application requires 2 variances. Those variances are set forth in the application. And specifically, they are a maximum front yard coverage, whereby in this zone, 30% is the allowable maximum. The existing is 21.30%, and we are proposing 36.99%, or 6.99% above the variance allowable. And then the final variance, the second variance, is the maximum floor area ratio, which is the D variance. In this zone, 30% maximum is allowed. We've significantly reduced that down. We're just above it. Unfortunately, still a little above it, 33.32%, and therefore we're 3.32% above the maximum floor area ratio. This evening, I have the client here as well, Nova Bronstein, as well as I have the professional planner and engineer, Mr. Harry Tavel. I also have our architect, Mr. Joe Donato. I'd like to start with Mr. Tavel presenting both planning and engineering aspects of the application.
Can I just ask a procedural question? Chandra was not at the July 1st meeting, and my minutes only indicate that it opened up, but we heard no testimony because there were too many discrepancies, so I just want to know if Chandra would do it.
That would be my recollection as well.
You're basically starting over, right?
Yes, exactly. What we really did was just came up and introduced us. Again, it was late that evening, and it was pointed out of the inconsistencies. Nobody, I don't think, even testified.
We're starting brand new tonight.
Yeah.
Nothing to be considered from last time.
So for the record, I was also not here, I believe, July 1st, so.
Right.
But
We just didn't really hear anything.
Then we'll consider this a new application.
Yes. Thanks, Chair.
Just raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm testimony about to be given tonight's proceeding to be the truth, whole truth, and but the truth?
I do.
Your name for the record, spelling your name, please.
Harry Tuvel, Tuvel. Address is 629 Ridge Court in Ridgefield, New Jersey.
Thank you.
Why don't you put your qualifications and
Sure.
your license on the record?
Are you on a list? Hang on one second.
Sure.
All right, did you see the list? Hang on. Is that all right? Right. No, just let's, on Cooper Road, just want to make sure he's outside of 200 foot before we waste a lot of time.
Maybe, but I think you're outside, right?
Maybe, I think you're definitely far enough away where you are. All right, sorry, please continue.
Harry, go put your qualifications and your license on the record.
Sure, I'm a licensed professional engineer and planner in the state of New Jersey, have been so for over 40 years. My licenses are in good standing, recently renewed, as a matter of fact.
Thank you, qualifications for a second.
Okay, so we've prepared a site plan that you have. I've just mounted it on the board for tonight. Cover sheet basically shows the existing home at 112 Newbrook Road, sort of a bi-level. I guess the architect would classify that better than I, and then we plan to build additions and turn it into this very nice contemporary looking home. The site plan that was prepared, and then I should do better than that. Although there is an existing, we prepared an existing conditions plan showing photographs of the existing home. The existing home is located on this 14,500 and I believe 626 square foot lot in the R5 residential district. We have a survey prepared that we submitted, prepared by Mano Surveying, and then showing the existing conditions, and then the site plan that we prepared showing the proposed conditions, which call for a 1,560 square foot building, again, on Canoe Brook Road. There is going to be some changes. We are eliminating existing projections into the side yard, which will eliminate an existing non-conforming side yard situation. And mainly, as the architect will go into a little bit further, there's a proposed two-story addition out the rear of the major addition is out the rear of the home, with a footprint of 440 square feet. And then another major site feature is that we are transferring the garage area from the rear of the building to having a two-car garage in the front of the building. So that is a major change, and there will no longer be a driveway along the side of the house. So this is quite an update to the existing residence that exists here. So with that, I'd like to go into the planning testimony. As council indicated, there are two variances being requested here. One is a D4 variance to increase the permitted floor area ratio, and the second is a C2 variance to grant a variance with regard to having the front yard coverage due to a driveway being placed in the front yard now in the home. So under the proofs for granting of the variances, of course, the proposed use is permitted in the zone. The the positive criteria for a FAR variance is similar to a variance for a conditional use. And that is to show that the property can reasonably accommodate any problem associated with the structure being larger than the floor area ratio permits. In this case, we have a proposed house that is conforming with respect to all of the bulk requirements except for the front yard coverage. The existing side yard variance is actually being removed. And as I mentioned, the side yard driveway is also being removed, and the reason for the front yard coverage variance is due to that new driveway replacing the driveway to the rear garage, which certainly is a more conventional configuration. Every other bulk variance, bulk requirement rather, is either met or below that which is required. The C2 variance for the front yard coverage is known. C2 is known as the flexible C variance, in that the board has the discretion to balance the extent of any nonconformity proposed and the extent of any negative impact. I suggest here that the balance here is that this is not too much house that's being proposed, that we are meeting or we are below the major bulk requirements. Despite the fact that we are asking for a FAR variance, no new bulk variances are being created, and it results in a renovated, updated house with without any problems such as parking or utility requirements that would be created by the increased FAR. Under the negative criteria, I believe that the variance can be granted without substantial detriment to the public good and would not substantially impair in the intent and purpose of the zone plan. I think the variances requested are that we've met the statutory criteria under C2 and for the FAR, that demonstrating that the property can accommodate, that easily accommodate actually this proposed development, and certainly the benefits outweigh any detriment that may be seen as far as the increased FAR. So to conclude, it's my professional opinion that we've met the proofs for the granting of the variances by demonstrating that the variances being requested do not rise to a level of substantial or otherwise detriment to the zone plan, and the renovation to the existing house, as I mentioned at the beginning, results in an update and upgrade to an older residential building. The purposes of zoning are advanced under C, I, and E, providing certainly adequate light and open space through creative development techniques. Under E, promoting establishment of appropriate population densities, and I, a desirable visual environment. So if the board, I'd certainly entertain any questions that the board may have, but that essentially is my testimony this evening.
So the R5 zone is essentially the country club section. Okay?
I'm sorry?
The R5 zone
Yes.
is essentially the country club section of town.
Okay.
It's 14,500 square foot lots. They're almost all the same size. Every single lot in that whole area, code section, known as country club section, Russell Cole code section, all the same size. On my way to this house, I passed a new house on Dryden Terrace being built, a new house on Spencer Drive being built, and a new house on Browning being built. All conform.
With regard to?
Everything. It's not coming in front of us. These houses are being built right now, okay? Being constructed on the exact same size lots, brand new homes from the ground up, okay?
Okay.
Why are you struggling to make your house conform when all these other houses are built? This is one of the most highly redeveloped areas of town, the country club section / code section. I'm struggling to see why on a lot, there's really no property hardship in this area because everyone has the same size lot, with the exception of a few little things, but for the most part. So I don't understand why your design is causing you to have these issues. Because it's a design issue.
I don't know about those other cases. I don't know anything about those
Well,
other
neither do I,
cases, of course. Except that in our case, we are actually improving this lot by removing an existing side yard nonconformity that exists. And it.
But you're adding two more.
We're adding two, we're adding, do those new homes have driveways in the front with
Absolutely
garages?
they do.
Okay, so they probably don't conform with regard to front yard coverage either.
They're built, they're done. They didn't come in front of us.
Well, I don't know
The
whether they,
building permits have been issued. So
okay,
they passed muster.
well, again,
So I'm asking your lot, why can't your driveway conform and why can't your FAR conform? What are you missing here, is my point.
the fact is that we're building a driveway and the math just works out that with that driveway in the front, we don't conform with the front yard coverage.
Okay, is there an alternative that does? My question.
I don't know what kind of
Because it's
alternative
very-
there
so-
could be to having
So I'm looking here at your design, okay? Your design, if you want to get sworn in, we can swear you in, okay? If you're not sworn in, that's fine. So come on, we'll swear you in as well.
You can only speak one at a time, though.
Okay, sure.
But getting back to what I was saying, your design is creating this. These are self-inflicted variances, okay?
Okay.
Is there an alternative? Because can you build a driveway that's not angled like this? Because the other ones I see are straight in.
If anything, a straight-in driveway would have even more coverage.
I don't know. I'm merely saying it's,
This is
I'm
a-
trying to square your design here in an area that we just don't see this. Because like I said, there's no lot hardship. There's no C1 hardship.
Well, there's no C1 hardship. Yes, I'm not
Right,
asking
so,
for.
so I'm trying to figure out an area where we see so much redevelopment that does not come in front of us. How this house, how you're having such a difficult time building a house that needs an FAR and a front yard coverage.
May I be sworn in?
Come on up.
Okay.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear from testimony you're about to give to be the truth, whole truth, and but the truth?
Yes.
Your name and spell for the record.
My name is Nova Bronstein Cock. Nova Bronstein, last name Kak. And I'm one of the owners of the house. Our existing house has a 2-car garage where we have so much asphalt in an area that is full of green. I don't understand how this house got built in the first place. Now, we bought the house, we planned to change the house. But we cannot currently pull in with our car that will accommodate our 3 young girls into the garage without damaging our car because of how low it is. It also requires all of this asphalt to be able to get into our garages, our 2-car garages, because they enter from the back. Now, I've seen no other houses in the Poet section that have a driveway that is arranged like this. So we're trying to undo something that didn't make any sense that was existing. Also, with our side yard coverage not being in compliance, that's also existing. We're slicing off a piece of our existing house to make it all fit. Now, we've had flooding in our basement. In Storm Ida, my husband had to take buckets of water into our garage, and we've had a water expert come in and figure out storm drainage. That storm drainage is cutting across our yard. So we're trying to not completely slice up everything that is already in place with existing drainage that's coming through the yard by utilizing the current entrance of the driveway. Now, then that means that we have to take the driveway at an angle. Because to straighten everything up, then you're slicing apart and into a section of angled drainage that's in the yard right now. So in terms of that strangeness with the front yard coverage, there are all of these existing factors that we're also trying to accommodate. So I think that our given house started out with a different circumstances than these other, I've seen the other houses that are being renovated. They don't have anything where a garage enters
Well,
from.
that's actually fairly common practice in the Post section.
To switch, I've not seen it. So I've been in Poet section for almost 5 years. So I can't speak beyond that. I was in Pennsylvania.
No, but saying that design characteristic.
I
is
don't
very
see it.
common. 55 words worth, 12 words worth. I mean, I could just go on and on. It's a very common issue where these driveways were built and you drove around the back.
And you've not had people come forward with,
Well, typically, if the house is being rebuilt, it's redesigned to either eliminate that because that's coverage,
right,
okay, which is what you're doing
which is
here.
why we're trying to utilize
Right.
in the back what was asphalt and then plant
But the
green all
design
around it.
alternative that you're
Yeah.
coming up with here is creating another problem.
Isn't that again having to do with the front yard coverage?
Correct. So you're
Right.
swapping side yard for front yard.
We have side yard currently. We are eliminating,
And you're adding,
no, so the last time that we came to this meeting, I wasn't here. But we had, was it 4 or 5? We had 5
I'm
variances,
aware, yeah,
right, which is a lot.
a lot.
Right. So we've tried to modify, including slicing off our existing house, to rein it in so that even the accommodation asked for within those 2 variances are a very small accommodation.
Well, 3% FAR is not small.
Okay.
So, and a 7% variance on front yard, that's not small either. So like I said, back to my question is, can your driveway be designed to eliminate a 7% deviation?
Yeah.
I would suggest that it could not,
Okay.
because we are certainly angling that driveway. We have, but if that
Well,
would be.
why are you angling the
If
driveway?
that would be a full width, but if it would be a full width driveway for the garage here, there would even be more coverage.
I don't agree with your estimation on that, but okay.
Right now, we have a single, we have a one lane or one car at a time driveway coming in there rather than a 2-car driveway.
When you say one car, you're talking about the curb cut or the width of the driveway?
I'm saying, I'm just talking about the curb cut.
All right, everybody's a one car with curb cut. Nobody has a 2-car with curb cut.
But they have 2-car garages.
Okay. Can you say you're not gonna be able to get into the garage if you?
No, this configuration, we can certainly get into the garage.
And
Well, my point, you actually can have a 2 with curb cut. But you could go straight in rather than having this whole piece on this side where you have this angled thing. If you went straight up, you would eliminate all of that coverage. What I'm saying is if you went straight from the 2-car garage door out to the street, you eliminate all this coverage.
There is an existing inlet on Canoe Brook Road that conflicts with that a bit.
What do you mean an inlet?
A storm drain inlet out on Canoe Brook Road is shown on the plan. So that if we made that, that might have to be relocated.
I don't know.
Shown on the plan.
There is a storm drain very close to the driveway.
Like I said, that's
It's from the township. It is not our personal property.
right.
So if we shift it, then we're disrupting the township storm drain.
I would say that would be taken up with township engineering. I can't speak to that. Whether driveway can exit onto that or not. Any other questions from the board?
I just have one question.
Sure.
In the new design, the walls that I'm looking at, which I didn't, there's a wall here opposite the garage. How tall are those walls? Is they're new, correct? How tall are they?
Those walls are probably under 4 feet or no.
No, they're under
Sorry,
2
2
feet.
feet.
They're under 2 feet.
They're basically landscape
We're on an
walls.
angle. We're at
They're
the bottom of
they're
the
landscape
hill.
walls.
So all the drainage from the entire Poets section comes down to our house. Because we are at the bottom of the hill.
Because the scale of your photo there makes the walls look a whole lot higher than 2 feet.
Yeah, they're not.
I have a question.
On this chart, is this you?
Yes, that's right.
So it's listing. But no, I'm sorry, I see that it's correct. So you're in an R5 zone and the lot area is larger than the R5, right?
Yeah.
And so I guess my question is around the FA, the size of the house. So you have a slightly larger lot, you have an FAR variance. So similar to Craig's question, what considerations did you have? Why do you need this FAR variance? What considerations did you have when you went back and looked at that makes that necessary?
It was what the client desired in terms of living space, and the architect can go into that a little bit further, and it does come to a total of under 500 square feet. It's actually 485 square feet of FAR variance that we're talking about here, which is certainly nothing major. And it certainly provides the client with the home and the accommodations that they feel that they would like to have. And again, the criteria for granting an FAR variance is not like a use variance where you're asking for a different use. An FAR variance, as I indicated in my testimony, the proof is to just show that it doesn't create a problem. And in this case, it doesn't create a problem.
No, it's considerably more than that, okay? This is a D variance, which requires 5 affirmative votes, which makes it considerably more serious than a C variance requiring 4.
Okay, I'm not talking about the seriousness of the vote,
So
sir.
when you said it's no big deal, it's actually quite a big deal. Not only do you have that standard, your standard also has to prove that's beneficial to the zoning plan and master plan. Not detrimental, but actually beneficial. And I'm sure you've
Not
cleared that
not
bar.
for an FAR variance, no.
Okay, then I'm learning something new from you, but I suggest you heed what I say.
Have you done any analysis of the FARs of the homes in the area?
No, I have not.
So you don't know whether any of the houses in the neighborhood
Well,
have.
but based on what the chairman is saying is that these other houses were just built with building permits, so I'm assuming,
That's anecdotal. You're an
Yeah,
expert.
and it's
I'm
anecdotal,
asking-
you're right.
I'm asking you if you've done any analysis.
I have not, no.
Any other questions? Any questions from the audience for this witness? Okay. Any, we'll have comments at the end. You can go up and speak, your attorney's here.
Sorry.
So the space that we would be adding that is currently asphalt in the back, where we're reversing the direction of the entry of the driveways, would become a space where we would put my 9-year-old daughter's piano, where we don't currently have a space that would be able to accommodate a piano. She's currently studying both cello as strings at Hartshorn and is also studying the piano, and we do not have a good space for her.
The use of the home is inconsequential to us.
Okay.
Okay, what you do inside, outside, or all
It
around.
seemed to be relevant in
Yeah,
other
no,
cases, so I figured I would mention,
It's more just
following the
conversation.
rules.
Yeah, but as for your intention, our decisions run with the land. So if you build this house
Right.
and sell it tomorrow, who knows what the next person might do?
That's
It's so we have to look at it, our decision is in
Precedent.
perpetuity,
okay.
so it's a little bit more holistic. Council, do you have anything else?
Yeah, we have Mr. Giordano, architect.
Do you swear affirm testimony about to give it tonight's proceeding to the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Your name for the record.
Joseph Donato, Donato, located at 14 Route 4 West, River Edge, New Jersey. Sure. I hold a Bachelor of Architecture, graduated in 1985. have received my license in New Jersey in 1992, and I've held my own practice throughout New Jersey since 1995. I'm also a planning board member for 8 years, so I understand your commitment to these projects and monthly meetings.
Your qualifications are accepted. Please proceed.
Thank you. So 112 Canoe Road is a unique piece of property. We have two neighbors to the left, one neighbor to the left, one to the right. We don't have any neighbors to the front. It faces a wooded area with Kennedy Boulevard behind it. And then we do have the neighbors to the back. We have several areas that we want to remove. As far as Mr. Tavell said, we have a structure on the right side of the property where we want to remove. Currently, it's 10.9 feet away from the property where 12 is required. Once we remove it, we're going to have 16 feet. So we felt like we're giving more air and light to that neighbor. Then even the owner had spoken about the driveway to the left, even though it may be common, we are removing any vehicular traffic going down the property and parking in the back. Again, we felt we were trying to give more air, light, less congestion to the neighbors. And that's why, then we got to the requirements that the owner wanted for the property itself, and that was adding an addition out the back, and we got over the FAR, but we felt that we were giving away side yard setbacks to one neighbor. We're removing the garage, the driveway, and the parking and the cars in the back. So we're being beneficial to the neighbors on both sides and in the back by removing the vehicular traffic. It's a 1960s split level, and we're still going to keep it a split level. And I'll just go through basically. Sheet A3 is the lower level basement area. It currently, the front of the house is on the upper page. We had a 2-car garage in the back that we want to remove, and we'll put the doors in the front. The addition that we're proposing in the back is a 16 by 27.5 feet, 3-story addition. And that the rest of the area stays the same. The basement unfinished, and then the 2-car garage remains, but we'll have access from the front. And this little area that we're removing toward the side yards is a crawl space. It still will remain a crawl space after we cut part of it out. I'll go to the next sheet, which is the living. So again, it's a split level. So the front door enters the kitchen, living, dining, and what was a office area, that's going to be cut so that we do meet the side yard setback, and it will just be like a little office area off the dining room. Then the split level goes up. There's 3 existing bedrooms and a bathroom that will stay. But then we have a hallway that goes into another suite in the back. So what was 3 bedrooms on this level now becomes 4. Then at the split level again, it goes up to another level, which is an existing master suite. And what we're proposing is to go up the next level and have an entire additional suite, a bedroom, a bathroom, and a TV family room area. So in essence, the total floor area existing is 3,374. With these addition out the back, by cutting the back out, adding over this split level, we're at 4,873.88%. And that's how we got to the 33.32% of the FAR. I'll just go over some of the exteriors. Start with the front. All right, so sheet A6 is the front. So we felt that by cutting this off and giving more air and light to the neighbor, removing the driveway on the side and the back, and by providing the 2 doors in the front, yes, I understand there's coverage, but we felt that since there's no really neighbors, in the front, we're not really affecting anyone with the look or the coverage of the front yard driveway. And what we're proposing is to add the level, straighten this all out, more contemporary style siding and a stone design. And that will follow through to the back. So this is the back addition. This is where the garages were originally, the two-car garage. That would be eliminated. The proposed 16 by 27 foot addition will come out the back. There is a driveway there now, so by removing that, we felt like by putting the addition there, it was more beneficial and it helped with the neighbors as far as air and light with traffic, the vehicular traffic. And then the same thing with the sides. It's really, once we build up, it's going to be more contemporary with siding. And so as far as the architectural plans, what was existing three bedrooms, we're asking now to be 5 bedrooms. Again, it's all to the requirements of the owner, and with that, we're asking for the variance for the FAR.
You keep saying air and light you're improving. If you're building a house that's considerably taller, wider, bigger, everything else, how doesn't that impact air and light?
Well, within the height structure.
No,
we
but I'm
meet
just
that.
saying, you keep saying this driveway somehow creates issues with air and light, but.
Well, the right side clearly does, because we're providing what's the proper setback even more now.
Right, but you, like I said, since you're over floor area ratio, that speaks to massing.
Right. But we're
Okay.
still within the height, 2 stories and the height.
I understand that, but I'm saying the physical plan is obviously larger, and that could also be detrimental to air and light, wouldn't it?
Well, the effect of massing, I would agree, but we are removing vehicular traffic, pavement to
Well,
the
we're not
side.
a driveway.
Sorry. Put cars in the back and,
Cars have to be somewhere.
well, it's like a trade-off, so,
Yeah, I mean, you're right, the ordinance requires you to have a garage.
Right.
So you gotta put it somewhere. Any other questions?
You said it's presently a 3-bedroom?
correct.
And
I'm sorry, 4-bedroom.
and you're making
We're
it,
making it a 5-bedroom.
it's not 6?
No, 5-bedroom.
Your sheet A5?
So I have sheet A5. So we have the 5th bedroom, which is the addition,
Right,
the master bedroom, which is existing,
right.
and then 3 existing bedrooms on that split. I'm sorry, 6.
So 6.
6 bedrooms.
You say the square footage for the FAR in excess of what is allowed is about 480 square feet?
I believe it was 400 and, yeah, the engineer had said that, yeah. Over what's permitted.
Correct.
What's the extent of the demolition? Because you show the addition, are you taking the present second floor, first one? What is the extent of what you're taking down?
So the split levels remain. The
So the
roof
outside.
obviously comes out and gutting of the inside.
Your exterior
Extensive.
walls?
So following up on that, I mean, you're staying within the footprint with the exception of getting rid of the side yard.
And the addition at the back.
Okay.
So the addition at the back and cutting this side, right?
And you have a path that runs down the side, right? Is that what that is? Stone
Yeah,
path?
I believe you have
That
the
runs down the side of the
pathway.
driveway. Is that what a driveway was?
So the driveway was the entire.
Right, and now you're putting a stone path down that side?
Correct, to walk toward the back, yes.
There'll be garden put in there.
Any other questions for the architect? Any questions from the audience for the architect on this project? Counselor?
Mr. Chairman, based upon what we've heard this evening, we'd like to have the application adjourned to the next meeting.
What's available next?
Probably December 16th.
Yeah. We'll be very short. We'll come back.
Will that work for you,
Yeah,
guys?
that would work for us. Right? Yeah, we'll make it work, absolutely.
And for the record, this application will be carried to December 16th with no further notice. Calendar 3983-24. Any corrections that you send in, make sure they're here 10 days before the meeting. Okay, so they can be circulated to the board.
Most certainly. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Lastly, we have calendar 4008-24. Mr. Coughlin will be recusing on this. Mr. Payne will be, Mr. Payne will be in his place. We're taking a 5-minute break, by the way.
We're waiting for.
Oh, sure.
We'll probably be finished before
Probably
he gets
hungry.
back.
Yeah.
There's no food here.
I could get sworn in and give you my credentials.
Yeah,
and
and
he'll be
swear
right,
in if
he's
they
getting
need
a
to
drink of water.
That's fine.
Do you swear affirm are you gonna speak also? Or would you be? Do you
Yes.
swear or affirm testimony you're about to give and proceeding be the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Your name is for the record.
Molly Kona, Khona.
Dave Rosen, Rosen. I'm an architect, principal at Rosen Kelly Conway in Summit. I am licensed in a few states, but the only relevant one tonight is New Jersey. And my license is in good standing, and whatever else you'd like, glad to carry on with.
Your qualifications are accepted by this board, so
Thank you.
please proceed.
Okay, shall I go get that?
I don't know what to do. Okay, I'll
Either
probably
Mr.
just
or
start.
Mrs. Kona was going to do the introductory
I don't know what
comments.
happened.
Oh, that's fine. Like I said, if he wants to add anything, we can swear him
Yeah,
in also.
he
so.
can always
Okay,
add.
yeah.
My name is Molly Kona. I live on 162 Long Hill Drive. I moved to Short Hills in 1979, only because my brother bought a house here. Otherwise, I don't know where I'd have been, so best thing he did is bring me here. I never wanted to move out of here. So we lived in Milburn for a while, and then we moved to Long Hill Drive because we needed a slightly bigger house to accommodate all the family and friends were always coming and staying with us. So, and then my daughter bought a house 7 minutes from my house, and my son 30 minutes away from my house. So we can't go anywhere now. We have to be around in this area, So we decided to kind of maybe update the house. It's from the 1960s. And I don't want a big home. I didn't want to tear it down. I wanted to just update everything. And my husband loves the backyard because it's all wooded. He loves his animals and deer and all that stuff. So he wants to look out and see all this. So we have decided to update the house and just to make it more comfortable for us.
Great.
Since we plan to live here, we have lived here for 40 years and we plan to live for another 40 years, if God willing, so. And David's going to help us to accomplish that. And I think because we are raising the roof, we're not making any additions. We're not removing any trees. We want everything the way it is. We do have to raise the roof to make the house look aesthetically pleasing. So it requires a little variance apparently, so David's going to explain what that is. And if you have any questions, here he is.
Great.
Thank you.
Go ahead, David.
Sal, did you want to add anything?
Did you want to?
Okay, great.
I can send you some of my deer too. If you-
I
It's not far.
I write the check.
One of the few people who enjoy having the deer in the backyard. So we're here, this is the house, 1961, split level, typical kind of low roof of about a 6-on-12 or so. And what our plans include is raising the pitch of that roof to be something that's more current and a little bit nicer looking. And that's what we can see in the drawing over here. And to do this, we need 4 variances, which sounds like a lot, but even though we're going up, that they are side yard setback variances. And I'll go through them. On the chart B1 in the lower left on there, I put some additional, I put some color on the variances themselves, and I just blew up a portion of this.
All right, so we'll
Glad
enter
to
that.
have it as A1.
Yeah, and then we'll enter that too, if that's, if you change the color on that.
I didn't change the color, just the size.
Right, that one you change the color on, right? On,
No, that had that. It was submitted with the color. But I'll just have this as A1. It's a little bit easier to see. I'm just going to just describe them, and then I'll come back and go through them. So the first one, this just says side yard setback. That's the category. On the left side, we have for the existing front left corner of the house is supposed to be 15 feet back from the property line. It is 14.5. So the property line, a little tough to see at this distance, but the property swells out a little bit as it goes back. So there is an area which is 6 inches wide and goes back in a triangle about 7 feet. So it's less than 2 square feet of non-compliance. It is already there, except that when we add the ceiling, when we raise the roof, there is a sliver in there, and it's about 6 inches wide, and I've covered all of it.
mark that as A2. No, I have to mark
Now we
that.
have to
Yeah, yeah, I'm going, oh, yeah. Actually, that's not quite correct. It is this, it's up here, sorry. It's not the piece below that, it's just the piece above, because
Above
that's
the, yeah,
above the
greater
18
than
feet. Yeah. So that's it from the front. After you go 7 feet back, it's down to 0. So it seems like a pretty good de minimis kind of variance. Anyway, so that's this first one. Again, it's 14.5. I already marked it as A1. And it's supposed to be 15. It's staying at 14.5, but we have a little bit more of the roof. It's actually a very slight bit, just because once it goes above 18 feet, it's farther back anyway. So I was right the first time. There's a little sliver in there. That's the right piece. Okay. So the second one is also on the left side, which is the area that is higher than 18 feet. And that is an area that is there. So there's that piece of roof. And keep in mind that that is just sort of the upper part of that roof. It's not all the way out. It's just a relatively small area that is the second story, or more than 18 feet high.
If I
And
could
the-
just, before you continue.
Yes.
The ordinance requires 15 feet for the first floor.
Yes.
It has nothing, as soon as you have a second floor, it's gotta be the 22 or the 25.
Right,
It's
so-
not 18 feet, so that.
Okay, we don't have a second
Okay.
floor over there. That's attic.
Okay,
But what we've done is I've said that it's more than 18 feet high, and so there's an area in there. This is not finished space in here, but it's
but is
just
there a
with,
floor in it? I mean, it's
there's an attic floor in there, yes.
technically not your first floor.
It's not the first floor,
Right.
correct. So I've assumed that in the future, if somebody wanted to put something within that part, is it like a closet, or I don't know what, it could be considered as habitable space within a portion of that.
Right, but we don't distinguish whether it's habitable or not. It's still second floor.
Okay,
So it would be,
Yeah.
the second floor would, that's where the requirement would kick in, because it's not your first floor anymore. So there
Fine.
might be a little more of that actually,
you're saying that that comes down lower?
wherever the second floor, wherever that floor is, that's now second floor. It's not your first floor any longer.
All right.
It's typically.
I mean, there is space there, but it is lower. I mean, most of that is actually lower than a 7-foot requirement to be habitable space. So what I've marked is an area that is actually for the building code higher than 5 feet. I don't want to get too wonky about all this, but there are different requirements as to what constitutes
Right, they're.
living
going by
space
habitable,
and so on.
But
Okay.
we're looking at it from the outside
Mhm.
as a second floor. So that's why. it's-
I understand that. It's, okay. So this area over here, I would consider it to be attic, but we've said that we need a variance because there is space within that that's more than 5 feet high by the building code or more than 7 feet high by the ordinance to qualify as additional space. Anyway, so on the left side, there's a small area within this peak. And when we look at the side, you can see that it's the only area that we're talking about is from here to here, and then we come up, and so there's an area sort of up in there that would be tall enough to qualify as second floor because it would be habitable by the building code. This is where the attic floor is. This is about 5 feet higher, and that's about what this.
Mark that A3 for me, Dave.
Okay, so there is an area in there that might be considered second floor under whatever kind of judgment is made there. Okay, then on the right side is compliant in the setback. It's 17.6, but there is a little bit of roof, and it's there. Again, because we raised the roof from a shallow pitch to a higher pitch. Also not finished in there. It's not high enough to be considered building coverage, but we've presented it as if it's a variance, just in case anybody had a question about it. We didn't want to leave it out and then have it as something. But that's the difference. That is more than 18 feet high, and it's to the 22-foot setback. So however one interprets it, there is a little area there, but it is not tall enough to be a floor by the building code or by the ordinance. But I've shown it here because there are, by raising the roof, we have that little area there and an area there. And we, by raising the roof, we have a sliver in here, which is 6 inches wide at the front of the house and then extends back. And then the last one is side yard combined, and the house right now is of a style that was much more popular in 1961. It's a split level. It's very low but wide. And so when we look at the photo, the property is just a little bit wider than it's required to be. It's required to be 100, it's 103. And it's legally existing on the property, but it doesn't comply with the current ordinance, which I don't think was in effect 60-something years ago. But in any case, in many communities, they've changed the side yard setback requirements because houses have changed from being very sort of low and horizontal to being much taller, and sort of the bulk is up and not out. And it's hard to see, but there's another house over here that is a full 2 stories. And many of the houses in this neighborhood, especially the ones that are new and have been replaced with much taller ones. This is an extensive renovation of this house, primarily the basement and the first floor, and then getting the appearance to be nice. We're not doing any additions on this part of the house other than raising the roof. But the house is allowed to be, excuse me for a second, it's allowed to be another full story in the whole middle of the house, because the house currently is only 22 feet high, and that's here, and that's going 6 feet higher, that's going to 28 and a half, and we're allowed to go 35. For most of the house, this is lower. This is at about 24 feet. And so we're substantially lower than what many houses are. And it's sort of a different fashion. It's a different style of house. The ordinance now has increased the requirement for side yard because of allowing for the house to go up higher. Anyway, so we have 4 variances in order to take this house and to raise the roof to be something that looks like a more up-to-date pitch. There are additions in the back of the house, and renovations inside, but they don't really affect the variances because they meet the requirements for the side yard setback. They're not tall enough to cause there really isn't the second floor over a good part of this. And so it's really just at the front. You can see that as the addition goes back, we expanded the kitchen and moved it and so on. There is no second floor. There's nothing on this addition that requires variance. It's just the nature of how this house was originally designed, and in adapting to that and working with that, raising the roof up, it triggers these 4 side yard variances. Okay, I'll pause for a moment, take any questions.
Okay, so
Yes,
those dormers, they're just skylights or just decorative?
2 things. They are decorative at this point. There's nothing going on there. At one point, just before the project, well, when the budget, not the budget, but the cost of the project, when that jumped over $2 million, there was nothing. At that point, anything that was going to go on here was cut out because they don't need it. They don't need the space. They just want a nicer house. And so the focus is on redoing the whole first floor and making the house much more usable. But we want the front of the house to look nice. And when we did it, when we took these dormers off, the house still looked a little bit too much like what it was. It was missing those. So they are decorative. There's nothing going on there. There's nothing, but if there was, it doesn't require a variance because we could still add 1,600 square feet of floor area to the house. Building coverage is compliant, lot coverage is compliant. It's just the setbacks because of the way the original house is wide. So we have nothing planned up here, it's just attic. But in the event that somebody wanted to do it, they could without coming back here. But Sal and Molly are staying in their current bedroom where they've been for decades and will stay. And there aren't, I mean, their kids are grown and so there isn't the need to do things. It was really sort of, and at the back of the house, we do not have the dormer back in here. We just, there was no need for that because there's nothing up there. But on the front, we felt that it just looked empty without it. So we liked it better that way.
Any other questions? Removing the fireplace?
There's a fireplace in the front of the house over here that is being removed, yes. On the floor plans, well, yeah, we don't need to go through it.
They really don't.
But the house is sort of reversed from what it would be today, where the kitchen and breakfast area are in the front of the house, and living room, dining room, and a family room are across the back. And so we're reconfiguring some of that and making a much more appropriate kitchen. The kitchen is 9 feet front to back, and so we're redoing that so it's a kitchen that opens to the family room and all of those things. There are a lot of really nice things about this plan I'd love to keep you here for, but yeah, and Molly gets her greenhouse in the back left corner. And we made that so that it didn't look too much like a greenhouse, but it's just the windows and skylights and then glass on the sides. And it has a separate heating and air conditioning system and humidity control. And it is separated by a wall of windows between the breakfast area and the greenhouse. So Molly can have her plants and Sal can watch the deer eating the outdoor plants.
That's great.
Yeah.
No, they were in my plan, inside.
Any other questions for Mr. Rosen? For the record, there's no one in the audience, so we will skip asking the audience. Sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm just curious, like, the roof,
Yeah.
once you raise it up, it looks really bulky. And is there any reason why, from the architecture perspective, have you ever considered to break it down a little bit?
So you ask an interesting question because this is a photo from the street and you can barely see the roof. Even though it looks like it from the straight-on architectural view, it will appear more like that from the street because the property rises slightly, but this roof goes away. And as you approach the house, there essentially is no roof. Almost nothing is visible. And we wanted this because it's a fairly low house. I wanted to give it a little bit more presence. And so I think that although it looks quite tall here, it will appear a little bit more like that because that appears like this, even when you're way back. So it's a judgment call. When we look at it like in 3 dimensions, it doesn't look as bulky. We deliberately brought these down a little bit from the ridge because otherwise on this angle, they would look like they're higher than the ridge and sticking awkwardly up.
Thank you for explaining.
Thank you for the question.
As a follow-up question to that, so with changing the pitch of
Yes.
the roof, how much area do you gain, how much height do you gain in the attic area that you're showing there down?
Well, in here, there is a central area that has, the top of the, let me just say that the top of the window, so 7 feet high is in here. So there is an area in here that is full height. There is an area in the center of this that is similar.
7 feet.
There is some 7-foot area, but the other thing that we did in order to give this a better presence is we raised the ceiling height in this section from 8 feet to 9 feet so that the first floor felt more proportional. And so that enabled us to eliminate the big difference in the typical split level, and so that it's now a little bit smaller. But the floor is actually like in there. And so there is some space, but it's not that much. It's within the center. It's not quite as much as this.
Any other questions?
Is this a Paragano house? I'm just wondering, just the age of the hip roof, it's not really relevant to the variance.
I think it is.
It is,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
He said it
that's
was.
almost historic, that's pretty cool. It's cool.
Well, we work with members of the same family.
Yeah.
Tom Paragano is a contractor we work with a lot, but I think he prefers working on the project to change
Yeah.
what his grandfather may have
That's the
done.
hip- I recognize it.
It made sense at the time, right? Yeah.
Well, I grew up in a house that was essentially this
Yeah.
in Summit, and there was so many, and, well, I became an architect, so it must be, I don't know whether I'm fighting against it, trying to,
Bring back the split level.
yeah.
Is it going to stay split level, or are you thinking?
It stays as a split level. There is no change to the height of the basement, either under here or over here, or any of the bedrooms. There are 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms in this section. All of those retain the same ceiling heights. The only place where we've made it taller, really, is on the first floor in the main living areas. And that's because as we opened it up, the proportions just seem, it feels tight. As it gets wider and deeper, it sort of balances out much better with the 9-foot ceiling.
I'm still going to be sleeping in my bedroom.
Yeah.
For another 40 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. She stays there, they stay there.
We're not changing it.
Anyway, so the only thing that we've changed, it is still a split level. The floors are all the same level, except there's a very tight attic space up here that rises up a little bit. That's the only change to a floor level.
Anything
Okay.
else? Then I'll close the public portion of this. Board members, what are your thoughts, comments?
So I'm gonna go first. I live in a house very similar to that. I've also got rid of the hip roof, but I love that what you've done with this. I feel like this is a modest ask and a tasteful one. And the existing conditions make it such a unique variance, so I would, it's great.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with Regina. I think it's a great setup, the way it's done. Looks really nice, really brings the house up to sort of a modern era and gives the homeowners everything they need. So I can say, regardless of the side issues, and I understand, that's the way it was built, and you're right, it's probably predates zoning. So I think it's a good use of the space and doesn't really conflict on the neighbor's light space.
It's nice to see a house like that not being knocked down
Yeah.
and just being, made a little more up to date and a little more, like giving it a nicer look from the street. So
Probably would have been cheaper to knock it down.
it probably would have been. I was thinking the same thing, but it's nice to see that you're taking something and you're preserving it instead, when you don't necessarily need to, so.
I think it's based on your need rather than what you want. So
Exactly, yeah.
it's, minimalistic, but yet very
Yeah.
elegant and
Could I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve the application.
I can second.
Chandra Rajani,
Yes.
Amy Lawrence,
Yes.
Gary Rosen.
Yes.
Regina Truitt.
Yes.
Zhajing Peng,
Yes.
Jessica Blatt.
Yes.
Rick Hunter.
Yes, good luck with the project.
Thank you.
Thank you all. And it's earlier than
I
that.
know.
It's
right?
an hour early.
It feels so great.
We're just trying to rush you. Go ahead. Once again, we'll note for the record that there's no one else in the audience as to other comments not on the agenda this evening. So I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
So moved. All those in favor?
Aye.
Have a good evening.
Yeah.